Okay, in this one I'm going to show you foundation, concealer, powder, bronzer, and blush. So step one is the Tinted Primer. This product is a combination of 3-in-1. It's got primer, a sheer foundation, and sunscreen all in one tube. And you apply that little sucker with a primer and foundation brush. So I'm using the back of my hand as a palette, and I'm gonna start at the center of my face. I'm using a shade called Light right now, which is the second shade. So we've got a porcelain for really fair skin, light and medium, which are the two most common, and then a medium to dark for a warmer skin tone. You can see how when I'm applying this, I started towards the center and swiped out towards the jawline, over to the hairline. Swiping shears the makeup, anywhere the pores are larger, somewhere around the center of the nose, typically chin and apples of the cheek, you can take the tip of the brush and twist to fill in. I do not like to use a sponge to apply this product because what sponges do in the ocean, they absorb water. A lot of these cosmetic products are made mostly of water, so you're wasting a lot of product. So make sure that you are using a synthetic hair brush, not a brush made of real hair. It kind of gets gummy and mats up. And avoid the eye socket area. And do not put this product past the jawline. This is a really good breaking point right here where you're not gonna see a line. If you go to here, it's gonna settle in the lines on the neck. So nothing made for the face, no face base should be applied to the neck area. I have a product that goes there that I'll talk about a little bit later. So I swiped to sheer, I twisted to fill in, and I got more of the product, and I'm tapping to add over anywhere that you have sun damage, rosacea, redness, maybe some scars, anything like that. Try to go lighter on your forehead when it comes to your foundation, so that way it doesn't look cakey if you haven't Botoxed and your forehead moves. My forehead doesn't move, so I don't have to worry too much about that, but for those of you that don't put things there to relax the muscle, when you put foundation or primer there, it'll look kind of cakey. Now, the next step is correctly matching the foundation. So you tell me, really quick, where do you match your foundation? Not your face. So if you said face, you're wrong. If you said neck, you're wrong too. If you said hand or inside of the wrist, you were also wrong. Who said décolleté? Décolletage, if you're fancy. Ding, ding, ding. That's the correct answer. So that's the area in this central vicinity, boob, lower neck area. That's your décolleté. The reason why you want to match that area is so when you step back away from the mirror or you step back away from another human, this, and this are gonna be one color once I'm done. If you try to match your neck, you can see how much lighter my neck is than my face. It's gonna give you white face. We tend to wanna protect our face a lot more here, so wearing all the sunscreen on your face and then also casting a shadow from here to here, you're gonna be lighter, especially if you don't wear sunscreen here. So you wanna match the warmth of this so you're one human. So I've got 4 foundations on the back of my hand from light to dark, and we are gonna decide together which one is the best match. So I'm gonna do some swipes. Let me get my little necklaces out of the way. There we go. I'm gonna do some swipes right here. 1, that one's called Whispering Rose. 2, which is Vanilla. 3 for Sandy Beige. And 4 for Cashew. There you go. You never want to choose your color right off the bat. Give it a couple of seconds to dry, and then that way you can see if it darkens up. Some foundations darken up, not all of them. So I would say about 20 seconds or so. Okay, now that we have let them dry, tell me which shade you would pick. The Whispering Rose, which is the one here, Vanilla, Sandy Beige, or Cashew. I'm gonna go with Sandy Beige. I've got some redness in my chest. This is kind of a pink undertone. I've got a little bit of self-tanner on, so I'm a little bit darker than I normally am. But when you're looking, you can see this one disappears the most. So the color that disappears is the correct shade. If it looks kind of white or obvious here, it's too light. And if it looks really dark and orangey and Oompa Loompa-like, it's too dark. So I'm going to grab the Sandy Beige. I'm just gonna use a smidge. I don't need that much more coverage because my tinted primer gave me a lot. I'm gonna go back and grab that tinted primer brush, and I'm gonna apply this to the areas that need a little boost in coverage. So again, I'm doing a little bit more tapping on the apples of my cheek where I have a little bit of rosacea, a little bit on my chin where I was picking blackheads earlier, don't judge me. Slept in my makeup the last couple of nights. That's probably where those came from. And you can see the difference between one side of my face to the next. It just gives a little bit more of a flawless application. So I've got more on the back of my hand, focusing it towards the center of my face, around my nose. This foundation is sweat-proof and waterproof, so I love it for that all-day, more of a flawless, airbrushed look. I'm going really light on my forehead, and I'm making sure I get into the hairline. Again, just like I said earlier, do not go past your jawline. Looking good. It's nice to have one brush that puts on more than one product and no need to wipe it off in between. I also canvas the lips by tapping it. That way when I get to the lipstick portion, it'll be more true to shade and not mix with my natural color. So the next step is the under eye concealer. And the brush that we apply that with looks very similar to the foundation brush, but a smaller version. I'm gonna use Nude Bisque as my color. This is the new packaging for the concealer. It's not out yet, so if you're wondering why you can't find it on the website, it's because that shit ain't out yet. Wait, be patient. So, I'm gonna take a little bit off the back of my hand. You wouldn't have to do this. You could actually use the little doe foot applicator right on your eye. But to be sanitary, since we're using that on customers, I put it on the back of my hand. When you apply your concealer, you go up towards the inner corner of the nose, right up against that redness against my lash line. I think it's easier if you kind of look up while you're applying it, and then out towards the end of the eyebrow. When you're applying your concealer, whenever you think you have enough, add more. Make the concealer face, it works really well, especially if you're an old bag like me. Then you blend it all the way around the eye socket area. Do not put your concealer on your eyelids. It has oil in it, it'll crease your eyeshadow. Then take your finger is your best tool to make things look like skin, and texture it. So by tap, 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 tapping, you're adding a fingerprint to it, so now it looks even more believable and blended. I know you see some redness on your eyelid and you want to use this concealer, but please don't do that. And then kind of marry it into your foundation. Look at the difference in my eyes. Do you see how this little tear trough, most people's do this? It's dark, so it kind of tilts down, but by bringing your concealer up towards the end of your eyebrow, it turns the frown upside down, so it gives it a nice little lift. So like I was saying earlier, you could just use this doe foot applicator and do dot, 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 and then use your brush to blend it out, but I'm using the back of my hand for now. Brow Lift concealer brush, and so now look at the difference between blending and then not blending. So you definitely don't want to leave it like that. I did that one time. I was going out back in my club days. I guess the phone must have rang, forgot what I was doing, and I got in the car and checked my face out as I was about ready to walk in, and I looked like that. Forgot to blend. Very important. There we go. Looking good. Now you want to set with powder. And I know a lot of you guys are scared of face powder. Don't be scared of face powder. Face powder is your friend. It's going to keep your makeup on your face and off your children's clothing as you hug them off to school, and off your hand if you touch your face while you're sitting at your desk or your cell phone. So I'm using a color called Toasted Coconut, which comes in a compact, but this is from my tester unit, so it's a pan only. So I apply that with my Clean Sweep brush, and here is the technique to applying powder. You want to start by tapping onto your skin. If you've got a really furry face like I do, you then want to go back in and buff. If you've dermaplaned your face and you have no hair left on your face, then you can just tap only. But the tapping is going to set, the buffing is going to blend. If you go straight into a blend like this, you're gonna have the foundation nuggets on the end of your brush. Oopsie. You're gonna have the foundation nuggets on the end of your brush. Y'all know what that is? Those little beads of foundation stuck to the end of your brush because it was wet. Make sure you avoid the eye socket area with your face powder, except for your under eye. When you put concealer on, you wanna make sure that you're setting it with a powder. And not all concealers require that you set them with powder, but the majority do. If it's more of a modern, creamy concealer with oil in it, it needs to be set with powder. If you use one of the, like the Dual Finish from Estee Lauder or the Lancome Waterproof, you don't have to set it, but your under eyes will look like the Sahara Desert because it is self-setting and it's very, very dry. We do the exact opposite. Okay, so now I have on the foundation, concealer, and setting powder. So those are the steps that take the longest, but to me the most important to get your skin looking creamy and smooth, and then you won't feel like you look like you need so much makeup on the rest of your face. But you can see how my face looks darker than my neck and on my chest. So this and this are the same color. This is lighter. So what I'm gonna do is take the new Fair Contour Bronzer, not out yet, but it will be in 10 days. with my sheer buffing brush, which is this guy. You could also use the flat contour. And I am going to adjust the color. So this one very, very naturally is going to give me some warmth to my neck. Your bronzer should not have any shimmer in it, because why would you want to put shimmer down here? But you can see how as I'm bronzing it, I'm starting to turn into one color. I also call this my neck lift trick, because when something is lighter and brighter, it looks like it's coming forward. When you put a shadow there, it kind of tucks everything in. And it's the same product that you put on and below the cheekbone. You can see how natural this color is. I love it so much. And then around the ear. If you have a really large forehead like I do, you can kind of bring it up in here like a big C shape. If you have a really small forehead, avoid putting bronzer on your forehead. Just go up into the temple and stop there. But now when I look straight into the mirror, look at the difference. So you can see on this side I have more shape to my face. It's kind of going inward. My forehead looks a little bit smaller, but my neck and my face and my chest is all one color. In the 90s, we used to put blush in this area right here, but we don't do that anymore. It's your bronzer. Your bronzer is a believable shadow and doesn't look fake. If you put blush from your ear to your nose, it looks like a hot pink racing stripe, and you don't naturally flush your blush like that. So I'm gonna use a really nude color blush. It's actually one of the ugliest ones on our website, but it's the best seller. It is called Nothing But Nude. And I like to use a really small head blush brush, because if you use a blush brush that's this big, look where you're gonna put your blush. All over your face where I told you not to put it. But if you use one with more of a densely packed hair, then you can smile and just pop it up on the apples. And I love this color because it's a really pretty, kind of like a clay pink. It makes it look like you're not really wearing blush, and it's just super natural. There's no shimmer in this one. If you have large pores, you want to skip on the shimmer. If you don't have pores on the apple of your cheek, you're fine to use that too. But do you see how by keeping my blush towards the center, it looks a lot more modern and believable? And when I smile, it just kind of lifts my apple up. So there you go. There's the tutorial on foundation, concealer, powder, bronzer, and blush. Enjoy.